In recent NASCAR history, we have had some of the best championship winning seasons of all time, and they will go down in history as being some of the most memorable and dominant. But sometimes, you also get some championship winning seasons that are quite lackluster, and everyone remembers them, and not for the right reasons. So today, we're going to take a look at every championship winning season since 2000 and rank them from worst to first. Now before we begin the video, I need to give 3 disclaimers. The first one is how I rank them. The way I ranked them was by using a metric. This metric measures wins, top 5s, top 10s, top 20s, DNFs, laps led, the amount of races in which a driver led 25 plus laps or 10% on road courses, and average finish. I use this metric along with some manual tweaking just given how I like it. The second one is that I excluded Kyle Busch's 2015 season. Now in the metric I used, he does actually rank above a handful of seasons. But in my opinion, this season is better left off the list just due to the fact that he missed a third of the season. The final one is that I didn't rank them based on who should have won the title or who may have deserved the title that year. This is just looking at the season itself. This is not factoring in the full season standings or any of that. So with all that out of the way, let's get into it. Number 24, Joey Logano 2024. Joey Logano won the 2024 championship to the dismay of many fans. After barely clinging on to a playoff spot all regular season, he got a 5 overtime fuel mileage win at Nashville that clinched him a playoff spot. Logano then won the playoff opener in Atlanta to get into the round of 12. In the round of 12, he was eliminated until a post-race Alex Bowman disqualification let him back in, and he made the round of 8. A fuel mileage win at Las Vegas a week later punched his ticket to the Final Four, and of course, in the finale at Phoenix, he won the race and claimed his 3rd championship. In total, Logano had 4 wins, 7 top 5s, 13 top 10s, and a 17.1 average finish, all of which, except for wins, were the lowest by any champion in NASCAR's modern era. This season is statistically the single worst championship winning season in NASCAR history. Number 23, Ryan Blaney 2023. Next is Joey Logano's teammate, Ryan Blaney, and of course, we're talking about his 2023 season. Blaney got off to a solid start. In the first third of the season, Blaney was hanging around the top 5 in points and snapped his winless streak at the Coke 600, and then followed this up by capturing the points lead at Gateway. But in the middle portion of the season, Blaney was very inconsistent and tumbled down the standings, and this caused him to enter the playoffs as the 12th seed. But he was consistent enough to get through the round of 16 and proceeded to win at Talladega to make the round of 8. In the penultimate race of the season at Martinsville, Blaney won the race and made the Final Four. In the finale, it was very obvious that Blaney had the dominant car of the 4, and while finishing second in the race, it was still good enough to win his first championship. In 2023, Blaney recorded 3 wins, 8 top 5s, 18 top 10s, and a 14.1 average finish, which at the time was the worst by any champion. Number 22, Jimmie Johnson 2016. In 2016, Jimmie Johnson made history by becoming only the 3rd driver to win 7 championships. The season itself got off to a good start with 2 wins in the first 5 races, and he was hovering inside the top 5 in points and contending for the points lead. However, in the middle portion of the season, Johnson hit a rough patch. Johnson was very inconsistent and constantly wrecking cars. But for the chase, in typical Jimmie Johnson fashion, he turned it up. He would win a race in both the round of 12 and round of 8. This put him through to the championship 4. In the finale, it was very obvious that of the 4 contenders, he was the weakest. But a late caution among some other shenanigans allowed him to sneak through and win his 7th Cup Series championship. Johnson recorded 5 wins, 11 top 5s, 16 top 10s, and an average finish of 14th, the worst by any champion at the time. Number 21, Joey Logano 2022. Joey Logano won his 2nd Cup Series title in 2022. Joey had a solid regular season. He picked up 2 wins at Darlington and Gateway and was around 3rd to 7th in points the majority of the year. When Logano got to the playoffs, he didn't run much better than he did in the regular season, but it was enough to get past the first 2 rounds. In the round of 8 opener at Las Vegas, Joey would win, and 3 weeks later at Phoenix, he absolutely dominated and won the race and his 2nd championship. In 2022, Joey recorded 4 wins, 11 top 5s, 17 top 10s, and an average finish of 13.5. A solid championship season. Number 20, Kurt Busch 2004. In 2004, Kurt Busch was the inaugural champion of NASCAR's chase for the Cup. Busch actually had a solid year. He was top 7 in points for the majority of the regular season and then turned it up once the chase rolled around. In the last 10 races, Busch was by far the most consistent of the chase contenders from that year, as in the chase, he won the opener at Loudon, recorded 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and it had an average finish of 8.9 in the last 10 races. This level of consistency in the chase is what allowed him to beat legends like Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon to claim his one and only championship. At the end of the season, Busch had 3 wins, 10 top 5s, 21 top 10s, and an average finish of 12.5. Number 19, Tony Stewart, 2002. In the year 2002, Tony Stewart won his first of 3 championships, and this one, in my opinion, is the weakest of the 3. During the season, Stewart was solid but not in the championship mix. In the first 2/3 of the season, Stewart was consistently around the top 4 to 7 in terms of points position. It wasn't until late in the year where Stewart really came in clutch. Tony put together a run of finishes of 3rd, 5th, 8th, 2nd, 3rd, 11th, 4th, 14th, and 8th, leading up to the finale, and this created a huge point swing in his favor, and set him up quite well for Homestead, as all he had to do was finish 22nd, and Stewart would go on to finish 18th and win his first of 3 titles. In total, Stewart won 3 races, had 15 top 5s, 21 top 10s, and an average finish of 12.6. A pretty solid year in a season that was filled with chaos. Number 18, Matt Kenseth, 2003. Matt Kenseth would win his one and only championship in 2003 in a very boring fashion. Kenseth won early in the season at Las Vegas, and this ended up being his only win on the year. Instead of outright dominating the field by dominating races and winning a lot, Kenseth was just consistent and finished in the 8th to 14th range for the majority of the season. Kenseth took the points lead after the 4th race of the season and just never let it go. Kenseth was so consistent that he was able to guarantee himself the championship 1 week early. At the end of the 2003 season, Kenseth recorded 1 win, the least of anyone on this list, 11 top 5s, 25 top 10s, 354 laps led, also the least of all the drivers on this list, but had an elite 10.3 average finish. Kenseth's consistency, rather than the dominance, is what allowed him to win this championship. Number 17, Joey Logano, 2018. In 2018, Joey Logano prevailed in the Big 3 and Me story. Logano had a decent regular season. He had 1 win and was top 5 in points at the start of the playoffs. In the playoffs, Logano had a solid round of 16 and round of 12 to make it to the round of 8. In the round of 8 opener at Martinsville, Logano aggressively got by Martin Truex Jr. to win his way into the Final 4. Then at Miami, Logano made a late pass on Truex and went on to win the race and his first of 3 championships. Logano actually did have a solid season. It was just overshadowed by the Big 3 and people being upset that one of those 3 didn't win the title. Logano matched Truex's average finish of 10.7 and was on par and actually better than Busch and Harvick in the last 10 races of that year. In conclusion, Logano recorded 3 wins, 13 top 5s, 26 top 10s, and an average finish of 10.7. Number 16, Tony Stewart, 2011. Tony Stewart would win his 3rd and final championship in the 2011 season. Stewart had a rough regular season that was highlighted by his run-in with Brian Vickers at Sonoma. After said race at Sonoma, Stewart put together a solid, consistent 8-race run to the chase and wound up making the chase and was quoted as saying he felt like he was wasting a chase spot and that it should go to someone who could actually compete. But Stewart went on to win the opening 2 races of the chase, but would follow this up with 2 mediocre runs at Dover and Kansas. However, he bounced back with 2 solid runs at Charlotte and Talladega and then went on to win back-to-back races for the 2nd time in the chase. After a 3rd place run at Phoenix, Stewart entered the finale only 3 points behind championship rival Carl Edwards. After a tumultuous day, Stewart wound up at the front due to some aggressive moves and then went on to win the race, tied on points with Carl Edwards, the tiebreaker being wins, ruling in Stewart's favor, and Stewart went on to win the 2011 title. In total, Stewart recorded 5 wins, 9 top 5s, 19 top 10s, and an average finish of 12.5. Number 15, Jimmie Johnson, 2010. Jimmie Johnson would assert himself as the top dog in NASCAR by winning his 5th consecutive championship in 2010. Johnson's season got off to a hot start, winning 3 of the first 5 races and eventually capturing the points lead. But a rocky and inconsistent summer slump would see him drop as low as 9th in points. But Jimmie wound up making the chase regardless and was actually seeded 2nd entering the chase. Johnson would open the chase in horrific fashion with a 25th place finish and was 6th in points. But in the remaining 9 races, he would go on an absolute tear. Johnson only had a lowest finish of 9th, and after Denny Hamlin's eventual choke in 2 consecutive races, Johnson would cruise to his 5th consecutive championship. At the end of the season, Johnson had 6 wins, 17 top 5s, 23 top 10s, and an average finish of 12.2. Number 14, Chase Elliott 2020. In 2020, Chase Elliott won his first and so far only championship. Elliott started off the season showing great speed, but ultimately was held back by bad luck and some bad pit calls. Despite this, Elliott was still really solid in the regular season, winning 2 races and being in the top 5 in points for the majority of it. Elliott entered the playoffs as the 5 seed. After a solid round of 16, Elliott transferred into the round of 12. In the round of 12, Elliott won the cutoff race at the Roval and made the round of 8, with a good chance to make the Final Four. But an unscheduled stop at Texas relegated him to a 20th place finish. Elliott was in a must-win entering Martinsville. Elliott would come in clutch, winning the race, making the championship 4, and of course, winning the race at Phoenix and the championship. In 2020, Elliott recorded 5 wins, 15 top 5s, 22 top 10s, and an average finish of 11.7. Number 13, Kevin Harvick 2014. In 2014, Kevin Harvick moved to Stewart Haas Racing, and in his first season with the team, he won his first championship. Harvick kicked off the season with 2 wins early, but he was quite inconsistent, as after 9 races, he was barely inside the top 20 in points. But in the weeks leading up to the new bracket-style chase, Harvick was more consistent and managed to finish the regular season 7th in points. When the chase arrived, Harvick walked through the round of 16, and in the round of 12, he won Charlotte to make the round of 8. In the round of 8, a wreck at Martinsville put him in a must-win entering Phoenix. But as we all know, Harvick was a god at Phoenix, and he of course won the race, punching his ticket to the Final Four. In the finale, some late strategy got him into position to pass Ryan Newman late and win his only championship. Harvick finished the season with 5 wins, 14 top 5s, 20 top 10s, and an average finish of 12.9. Number 12, Brad Keselowski 2012. 2012 was the year Brad Keselowski won his so far and most likely only championship. Keselowski opened the season rough. Despite having 2 wins, in the first half of the regular season, Keselowski wasn't even top 10 in points. But in the second half, he eventually managed to put together a string of good finishes and rebound to finish the regular season top 5 in points. Keselowski won the chase opener at Chicagoland and then got Dodge their last win in NASCAR just a couple weeks later at Dover. For the remainder of the chase, Keselowski was locked into a tight battle with Jimmie Johnson, and Johnson seemed like he would at least have a shot at Miami. But a blown tire at Phoenix and then a mechanical failure at Homestead cost him the championship. Keselowski was able to finish well in both races and win the championship. Keselowski finished 2012 with 5 wins, 13 top 5s, 23 top 10s, and a 10.1 average finish. Number 11, Jimmie Johnson 2006. Johnson would claim his first of 7 championships in 2006. Johnson was locked in a tight battle with Matt Kenseth all season long. But when the chase rolled around, Johnson struggled. He opened the chase with 4 straight finishes outside the top 10, 2 of which outside the top 20. He was at a deep deficit. The 5 consecutive top 2 finishes vaulted him into the points lead and gave him an advantageous spot heading into the finale. In the finale, Johnson ran well enough to clinch his first championship. Johnson ended the year with 5 wins, 13 top 5s, 24 top 10s, and a 10.8 average finish. Number 10, Jimmie Johnson 2013. Breaking into the top 10 is Jimmie Johnson's 2013 season, which saw him capture championship number 6. In 2013, Johnson seemed like the dominant force of the regular season. He had 4 wins, a pretty healthy points lead, and looked like the favorite. But the last 4 races of the regular season, he had finishes of 40th, 36th, 28th, and 40th. Johnson was limping into the chase. And to start, while he was very consistent, a new, or rather old opponent came to light, Matt Kenseth. Kenseth won the opening 2 races of the chase and had the points lead over Johnson, and at one point they were tied. But Johnson made a statement by dominating the race at Texas, leading 255 of 334 laps, and won the race, taking the points lead in the process. And then another solid week at Phoenix, while Kenseth had an off day, all but sealed the title for Johnson. In the finale, Jimmie would go on to finish 9th and win his 6th championship. Johnson ended 2013 with 6 wins, 16 top 5s, 24 top 10s, and an average finish of 10.7. Number 9, Bobby Labonte 2000. Bobby Labonte, much like Matt Kenseth in 2003, took the consistency as key approach, but did it infinitely better. Labonte took the points lead in race 10 at California and never looked back. Labonte picked up 4 wins over the course of the season and had an unreal average finish of 7.4. This season, in my opinion, is not talked about enough, and I think this year from Labonte is extremely underrated. It's kind of weird to me that everyone talks about Matt Kenseth's 03 season and says how underrated it is. Kenseth finished more in that 8th to 15th range, while Labonte finished a lot more in the 5th to 9th range. Labonte finished the 2000 season with 23 consecutive top 20 finishes. That is just insane consistency. This consistency was unmatched, and that's why Labonte won the championship. Number 8, Jimmie Johnson, 2009. In 2009, Jimmie Johnson would win his 4th consecutive championship, breaking Cale Yarborough's record. In the regular season, Johnson was top 3 for the majority of it, mainly battling Jeff Gordon for the 2nd spot. As for the 1 spot, Tony Stewart had a stronghold over it the entire regular season, and before the reset had a 200-point advantage. But in typical Jimmie Johnson fashion, he kicked it into high gear when the chase rolled around. Johnson won 3 of the opening 5 chase races and vaulted himself into the points lead. Even after a horrid run at Texas, Johnson was still consistent enough to have himself in a good position entering Homestead. Johnson just needed a 25th place finish, and Johnson went on to finish the race 5th and win his 4th championship. Johnson ended 2009 with 7 wins, 16 top 5s, 24 top 10s, and an 11.1 average finish to eclipse a legendary record. Number 7, Tony Stewart, 2005. 2005 was the year Tony Stewart would claim his 2nd championship in 4 years. To start 2005, Stewart was not good. After the first 8 races, Stewart was 14th in points, but he started to string together some good results, and after the 14th race of the season, Stewart really turned it on. He put together a 12-race stretch leading up to the chase in which he finished 8th or better. This unreal consistency vaulted him into the points lead and allowed him to capture the 1 seed heading into the chase. Stewart was able to put together a good enough chase to win the championship over the Roush duo of Greg Biffle and Carl Edwards. Stewart ended 2005 with 5 wins, 17 top 5s, 25 top 10s, and a 9.9 average finish. Number 6, Jeff Gordon, 2001. Just missing out on the top 5 is Jeff Gordon's 2001 season, which saw him capture his 4th and final championship. Gordon took the points lead after race 14 at Michigan and never looked back. From this point on, Gordon recorded 3 more wins and had an average finish of 10.7 in the last 22 races. This consistency was enough for Gordon to lock up the championship a week early. Gordon ended 2001 with 6 wins, 18 top 5s, 24 top 10s, and an average finish of 11th. Number 5, Kyle Busch, 2019. Breaking the top 5 is Kyle Busch's 2019 season, which saw him win his 2nd and most likely final championship. Kyle opened the season with 11 consecutive top 10 finishes, which tied a record from 1990. Kyle won 4 of the first 14 races and looked like the championship favorite, but when the playoffs rolled around, he just fell back on his playoff points to get him to the Final 4. Regardless, he did make the Final 4, and his competitors around him just shot themselves in the foot. Harvick just didn't have the speed, Hamlin didn't either, and his pit crew made a massive mistake. Truex's crew put the tires on the wrong side of the car, but Kyle Busch's team kept a cool head and stayed up front and won the championship. Kyle Busch finished the 2019 season with 5 wins, 17 top 5s, 27 top 10s, and an 8.9 average finish. Number 4, Jimmie Johnson, 2008. In 2008, Jimmie Johnson would tie Cale Yarborough's record of 3 consecutive championships. Johnson's 2008 regular season was really good. He stayed in the top 3 in points but was no match for Kyle Busch this season. But when the chase rolled around, Busch had a historic season collapse, so of course, Jimmie Johnson stepped up. In the chase, Johnson had a worse finish of 15th. This consistency, of course, was rewarded with a 3rd consecutive title. Johnson recorded 7 wins, 15 top 5s, 22 top 10s, and a 10.5 average finish. Number 3, Jimmie Johnson, 2007. Breaking the podium is Jimmie Johnson's 2007 season, which saw him win his 2nd consecutive championship. Johnson won 6 races in the regular season, but the problem was that his teammate Jeff Gordon was in another zip code. Gordon was so consistent that when the chase came, he had an over 400-point advantage over Jimmie Johnson. But Johnson, like he would do so many times in his career, rose to the occasion in the chase. Gordon got the jump early with 2 wins and a 68-point gap over Johnson. But Jimmie would do something historic and become the 12th and still the final driver to win 4 in a row to create a point swing that saw him take the lead and eventually win the championship. Johnson finished 2007 with 10 wins, 20 top 5s, 24 top 10s, and an average finish of 10.8, which is simply incredible. What makes this season so impressive for me is that his championship rival this season, Jeff Gordon, had an average finish of 5.1 in the chase. That in any other year is more than enough to win the championship. But Jimmie Johnson came in clutch and had a 5.0 average finish in the chase, not to mention 2 more wins. Johnson did something historic to win the championship, and that in my opinion is worthy of a podium spot. Number 2, Martin Truex Jr. 2017. Taking the silver is Martin Truex Jr.'s 2017 season, which saw him win his only championship. Truex was obviously the dominant force through the regular season. He was the first driver to really adapt to the new stage racing concept, as he won 19 stages in 2017. Truex was able to win 4 races in the regular season and capture the regular season championship. And needless to say, he didn't slow down in the playoffs. In the final 10 races, he had 9 top 5s and 4 wins, one of those being the finale that got him his one and only championship. Truex recorded 8 wins, 19 top 5s, 26 top 10s, and an average finish of 9.4. And taking the gold is Kyle Larson's 2021 season. Kyle Larson in 2021 was just something different. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the story of this 2021 season, because I think we all know it at this point. Instead, I'm going to justify putting this season at the 1 spot. What he did this season is never going to be done again. He missed an entire year, came back and won 10 races and the championship. He also had 2 separate 3-race win streaks. It also just felt like he was in contention to win almost every single week. The stats prove this, as he led laps in 25 of the 36 races and led the most laps in 14 of those races. Honestly, he probably could have won 18 races this year, but some things went the way they did. As far as the metric stats go, Larson was first on a tiebreaker in wins with 10, first in top 5s on a tiebreaker with 20, second in top 10s with 26, second in top 20s, 11th in least DNFs with 2, first in laps led with 2,581, fourth in races led of at least 25 laps with 50%, and third in average finish with a 9.1. Larson was untouched as far as the metric goes, but also the eye test. He was so dominant and always looked like a threat to win, and that, in my opinion, is why this season deserves to be at 1. Now, I know I've said a lot about this metric, so let me explain. I took all 25 champions and took apart all of their stats. Like I said earlier, I used wins, top 5s, top 10s, top 20s, DNFs, laps led, races led of at least 25 laps or 10% on road courses, and average finish. I ranked every driver by their stat in every category. Then I averaged their rank and ranked that average and put together this list. And I also did some manual tweaking just based on how I like the season. I will show you the metric ranks along with my ranks side by side. So not a lot is different, but there are some differences. Now, no matter how you look at it, all of these drivers are champions, and every championship, in my opinion, is a deserved one. And what everybody did on this list is something extraordinary and something rare. But anyway, this video is probably already too long, so I'm going to get out of here and quit yapping. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 4,000 by the end of the year. Thank you to my channel members, and I'll see you next time with another video. Y'all have a good one.